forward to a really good 2022. First of all, I'll just introduce myself real quick. I'm Sylvia Bernett Jones. I work at the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation in support of the EdFi Alliance initiative. And really our main focus here is to provide resources and support to education organizations in their data interoperability journey. I'm going to present to you guys kind of to kick off the Academy with a quick short video that the folks at the EdFi Alliance marketing team helped us put together. I'm hoping that you will be able to hear sound. So here we go.
You already know that interoperability, the seamless integration of education technology systems, can have a powerful impact on your organization and students. But getting from here to there can feel like a long journey. For anyone seeking to learn about interoperability and EdFi, we are excited to announce the launch of a brand new training resource, the EdFi Academy. The Academy is a comprehensive set of on-demand training courses designed to meet you wherever you are on your EdFi journey. The Academy has specific program tracks for K-12 data professionals just learning the basics, and even more advanced courses for seasoned IT pros. Plus, we have specific learning pathways to guide you every step of the way. EdFi community, we've heard you loud and clear. You asked for an easy-to-use, on-the-go training curriculum, and we're giving you the best training you can get with the EdFi Academy. We can't wait for you to jump in and start learning today. Visit the Academy at academy.edfi.org.
Well, we're really very excited about this resource that we've been working at the team at the EdFi Alliance and with the support of the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of background of what's driving this work and this particular resources that we're making available for free to anyone. So as you guys know, one of the main important focuses from our organization's perspective, and probably one of the main reasons you guys are also here, it's the understanding that teachers, parents, and administrators really need access to useful, timely, and actionable learning information to give the best tailored instruction. And to be able to really do that, they need to have access to the systems that capture, generate, and track that information so that you really have a full picture of students' challenges and success. Our initiative really its focus on the development, support, and growth of healthy and sustainable ecosystem that supports this for education organizations. Data interoperability is really the vehicle in terms of supporting this. Our main goal with the EdFi Academy is that we provide the knowledge, training, and support to empower you guys and those education organizations to own and develop self-sustainable implementations on your data interoperability journey. And so the main focus here is to provide those resources so that you own and have ownership of being able to drive how these solutions will be able to help your particular education organization on your needs and pain points. So now I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of the Academy, the resources, how do you access them. The EdFi Academy is a full learning management system in which you are able to go step by step on guided courses. You're able to figure out how to stay on track on your particular learning track. You're able to access this from anywhere, anytime. It facilitates for you to learn at your own pace. A lot of the activities here can be shared if you are actually going through the learning journey with teams, with members of your team. However, the learning can also be asynchronous. And one of the things that we are facilitating through this vehicle is also that you're able to connect with the EdFi community. If you're not familiar with the EdFi community, it's really everyone, every single one of you, any and every education organization that is starting their data interoperability journey, it's a member. We have two tracks. One of the lessons learned that we've come from for the last 6-7 years on supporting education organizations in this journey is that the educators and technologists are as important, and just that focusing on how to support the infrastructures or technologies to support data interoperability. It is important to have those instructional leaders, those data team members, and education professionals to be involved in understanding on what these initiatives will be, what they will do for them, and also what do they need from that, from an infrastructure technology. And so we've created two paths here. A lot of the current resources are for both tracks. And we'll go a little bit more into once I log into the system. I'm kind of giving you guys a little overview of what these tracks cover and what is specifically you can gain knowledge from them. The EdFi Academy is going to be composed of three series, levels of series that will drive you to some certain level of achievement towards a certification or a badging on what learning pathway are you choosing to do. Today, we are fully live in production with 4 courses for the 100 level series. And these courses they introduce you to data interoperability, how EdFi supports those efforts. They help you also understand how important is the relationships with your vendor and how to actually improve those communications and partnerships. There's a specific course around data management, which is part of what this webinar is, to kind of highlight a little bit on the resources of how to become a data specialist. And then we give you an overview of what the EdFi technology is in support of data interoperability. Data interoperability as a whole is really the effort of figuring out how the systems all education organization systems can seamlessly interconnect. The EdFi technology suite with the EdFi data standard is a mechanism for you to be able to provide this into your organization. The 200 level series, which will be available this summer, will be focusing in intermediate to advanced courses for educators and technologies, so that they can help you guys understand, okay, now that I got a sense of the basics, how do I use the EdFi technology to solve my specific pain points? What capabilities do I need to develop on my teams, on my organization to make that successful? And how the starter kit that the EdFi Alliance makes available for you guys to use can actually help you on kicking off those initiatives. The starter kit is a set of resources that the EdFi Alliance has made available to the entire community to jumpstart those activities on what it means and what it takes to introduce data interoperability into your organization by solving a specific pain point. I want to break here to just kind of tell you a little story in terms of why the starter kits came into place and why they're important for me to mention, and that they're the focus of the 200 level series. Like I said, in the past 6, 7, 8 years, we've supported hundreds of organizations in their journey around interoperability. And this lesson learned pointed us to a couple of critical indicators. One is the the need of to solve a specific problem. Whenever organizations move into this journey, they think about like, oh, this bringing interoperability into our organization with EdFi, or let's say integrating one roster or whatnot. It's going to solve all our problems. When organizations started with that mindset, almost 60 to 70% of those efforts are multi-year, multi-million-dollar efforts that do not succeed. They take too long to be able to provide benefit back to the stakeholders. People move, priorities change. And so the starter kits in the 200 level series are focused on helping you how to define an initial pain point that can provide quick value to your organization and to help your stakeholders stay engaged. The other thing that we've learned is around the need of the governance, that there needs to be a set of either a starting initiative or an understanding on your organization on the importance of data governance, which really is pretty simple in terms of what it means to bring governance into your education organization. It means to start having everyone have the same language around how do you define genders, how do you define ethnicity, what are your courses, how do you classify them, and that people from the entry clerk level all the way to reporting are on the same page, and that there is specific groups of people that identified on how to drive the needs of those data points. And in terms of the third key factor was the integration of cross-functional teams. And that is the reason why on the Academy we're very specific and call on to the need of having educators and technologies being part of these initiatives. Cross-functional teams that are bringing along the stakeholders in initiatives of data interoperability are very successful. When it becomes only a tech product or a tech project or a tech initiative, the value to your stakeholders really doesn't come across, and to them doesn't mean anything. So it's important to bring them along. It's important for you to work with them. What is the main pain points in your specific organization that would bring value from bringing interoperability into your org? And the 300 level series, which we're working for it to come live on the fall, it's going to focus on expert level technology topics and educator topics. These courses will provide full understanding of the technology, how you're able to customize it for your specific needs, how do you serve your stakeholders, and how do you support data analytics and data reporting? How do you actually mature what data engineers are? The role of data engineers and data analytics resources and staff, it's sort of a new but not a brand new concept, right? Like you've had those folks in your staff, you've had those folks in your organization, but they haven't been called out in terms of how important they are for your entire initiative and how do you bring interoperability into your operations and your education organizations. I'm going to pause here just to make sure if there's any questions before I go on. If not, everyone hears me okay? All is good, I'm not going too fast? Just a couple thumbs up or good on the chat will give me an indicator to keep going.
Hi, may I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lava, welcome to the webinar.
Yes, thank you. So Lava with Loudoun County Public Schools, I'm the data architect here. So I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing data interoperability, which is the data exchange, and then I'm hearing learning. So how you tie those two pieces together? Sorry, I'm new to the EdFi. I've done some like the back end work, but not understanding like the whole full scope of this whole data interoperability and the learning piece of it. So I just wanted to understand how, so once you have these learning in place, how you will then tie this to data exchange. Does that make sense?
Yeah, your question makes sense. And Lava, it's a two-tier answer that I'm going to give you. First is what we found out and through the course of these initiatives to support education organizations on how to seamlessly integrate data is that there's a lack of knowledge in education of what that even means, what that can do for you. And so that's where the learning component comes on the academy, to provide a set of level setting understanding of what the challenges on the education ecosystem are in terms of interoperability, what interoperability is, and how EdFi can support on those efforts. So the learning component comes into really educating our ecosystem on the challenges. And then how this is supported by data exchange is really the next step of the learning track of like, okay, now we all have a basic understanding of the problem is, here's how you solve it. Here's how you tackle it. And when I introduce the first course here in a minute, it might be able to kind of clarify that a little for you, but I wonder if this preliminary answer addresses some of your concerns.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Great.
you.
No problem. Any other brave soul, or I keep going? Or you guys haven't had enough coffee? I'm not sure where we are at. All right, I'm gonna keep going. So let me tell you a little bit about this training. Like I said, the EdFi Academy is a full learning management system. It is composed of e-learning modules, and there is a web-based facilitated workshops whenever you decide to do this as a team. And this knowledge actually is able to be captured and ingrained into your learning journey through a workbook. The workbook helps you go into the activities that we talk through in the learning modules. This workbook is fully individualized for you, your journey. You'll be able to download it if you want to. It's all integrated into the learning management system. The very first course is a course that focuses on introducing you to EdFi, the fundamental concepts of interoperability, what EdFi supports, and how the EdFi community can get you through success. I'm gonna jump into this slide in a minute. The reason I have this slide is just to kind of give you a sense of the following, which is each course has between 4 to 5 learning modules. Each module is about 90 minutes. The modules are also breaking down in particular objectives. So they're very in terms of achievable and digestible in terms of the time you want to dedicate to them. Obviously, you could finish a whole course in 2 days if you so choose dedicating that time, or you could actually spread it over time. And so it's very modular in a way that you can say, okay, today I'll do the first objective for the first course, and so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the site. The site is edfi.academy.ed-fi.org. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to put it in the chat. Make sure I put this for everyone. Oh, thank you, Elisa. Okay, so if you guys want to follow with me, that's great. If you want to explore this later in your own time, that's also great. The access to the site is free. If you already are part of the part or member of the EdFi community, you already probably created your own login to the resources that we provide in EdFi. If you don't, there is a way in which to get started, you can create an EdFi account. The EdFi account is free and available to anyone in the education ecosystem, or really anyone that wants to take part of understanding what data interoperability is, EdFi, and the challenges in the education ecosystem. It's pretty easy to navigate. You can explore all the courses. You can see the courses that we've assigned in terms of the program track. So far, we have 4 courses. All 4 of them are really recommended for the technical track and 3 of them for the program track. Each course, like I said, is composed of 4 to 5 modules, and each module has a set of objectives. If you're not logged in, you will not be able to access these, and what that means is just please go ahead and log in. You have already created or will create an EdFi community login, and through this login, then you will have access to the courses themselves. And so I just kind of want to navigate real quick to the EdFi 101, which is called Welcome to EdFi. In the page on the course, you can see the overview, who should enroll to this course, and what are really the course outcomes that you will take out of this course. So if these are key concepts that you're already aware of, it's actually a good refresher. If you're not, it's a really good set of resources to kind of help have a deeper level of understanding. As you're starting the course, it will track each of your progress. Like I said, each of those courses are have objectives on their own on each of the modules. You are able to explore them by objectives. One of the main components, like I said, of the courses is the access to the workbooks. The workbooks provide fundamental specifics around the particular course that you're in. And as the e-learning module takes you through activities, it will refer you back to sections on the workbook for you to be able to capture your answers to those activities. This is really important in terms of the interaction that we put these resources here for you, is to solidify the knowledge on the topics and information that has been introduced, and also to kind of at the end help you print this out if you want to have some reference point to get back to. Every single course has a final assessment in which just, helps you again, did I really comprehend these concepts? Are these solidified for me? Do I know what to do next and how? And the goal is that by the end of this year of 2022, we will have a set of certifications or tracks that will recognize you as a member of the community as being certified or expert of a particular topic. The course that I want to show you guys that I think it's important for this discussion and for you guys to, I wanted to show you guys at least the view course outline. So hold on, give me a second. I'm logging into a way that we will not be able to do that. Okay. The introduction to data management. The introduction to data management does have the prerequisites that you at least need to have completed course 101 and 102, because those are critical, fundamental information for you to be able to jump to this. In the introduction to data management, we help you focus on understanding how, and Lava, this is maybe a little bit to your question, is how is it important as a data engineer or a data analyst, the alignment to a standard? How the data interchange on bringing in interoperability is going to help you be more effective as a data engineer and data expert. Also, we walk you through, hey, nowadays being a data manager or a data specialist, it's a shift in responsibility from the typical normal activities that a data analyst or a data engineer specialist is currently in the ecosystem. Your role won't be anymore about pulling spreadsheets, going to the sources, trying to merge it all together, but be more about really understanding the business part of the data and how you can mine it and actually bring value. It walks you through some of the community and data product sharings that the EdFi Alliance provides as resources to the community. It leverages some techniques and tools that the Alliance provides. And it also helps you how to leverage the analytics middle tier, which is a technical component from the EdFi technology suite, to help you mine data and actually get a set of understandings on how to solve pain points in your organization through data. I have a question from Brian Kolbeck. Is there an estimated amount of time required to complete a course or module? There is, and each of the modules will tell you that at the very beginning what they're compromised. Like I said, each of the courses would take you between 90 to 120 minutes, and they're composed with five modules. At the introduction of each of the courses, it will tell you how long each of the course is and what's the amount of time that you need to think about committing to it. So on the very first introduction, it will tell you, hey, this course has 5 modules and it's about 90 minutes. No problem, Brian. I'm going to pause here. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, or anything you want to share? I want to make sure that you guys are also, that if something comes up after we've had this discussion, you are welcome to reach us through the EdFi Academy and the EdFi Alliance website, and we'll be able to answer your questions. And if you don't have an account for the EdFi Alliance and the resources, we can also help you through that. Okay, and that's really the end of the presentation of us sharing with you guys these resources. I highly, highly encourage you to at least create an account. If you already have an account, please go and tackle the very first module of the EdFi 101. You would take, this module would be about 20 to 25 minutes, and it will help you understand, like, okay, this is the kind of resources, this is kind of how we navigate, and it'll be very valuable that you do, and at the same time provide us feedback. This is artifacts and a learning platform that we want to make sure works and is beneficial for everyone, and that you're actually able to gain the knowledge and expertise you need to bring data interoperability with EdFi effectively into your organization. So I hope I've convinced you to log in at some point in the next coming weeks and tried at the very least the first module for the first course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Yes, if I could speak for the Project Unicorn team, we've been working our way through the EdFi Academy ourselves to kind of understand what's out there. And we've been blown away by how the ease of use of the Academy, just the way that the information is presented to us, and how much we've learned ourselves from taking it. So I encourage everyone to enroll and and check it out. I do have a question for you, Sylvia, real quick, as we're sort of winding down our time here. Looking in the chat, we have people from a variety of organizations and roles, people at schools, people at ed tech organizations. And so you mentioned that there's this difference between the educator track and the technologist track. And so I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about the differences of these two tracks and how people from multiple backgrounds can kind of get engaged.
Absolutely. And thank you for asking that question, Jonathan. The intent really of having two tracks is to really bring in those folks on the program areas to really understand how their day-to-day work of trying to understand student achievement comes along with that technology project. And so for educators, we're really targeting instructional leaders, data members, any other educator professional that wants to be part of the initiatives of changing really the culture of your organizations, right? So really one of the main intents here was to make awareness that technical projects on their own to solve data interoperability issues are not successful. The component of the educator piece is important. The educator piece, and like in general, globally, we're talking about, like I said, instructional leaders, chairs of particular departments. And the track would focus around how do you bring data governance into your organization? How do you actually manage a project? How do you drive your stakeholders' needs and help them come into an initiative so that we can solve the problem? So it's really focused in terms of how that component of an initiative and those members of the education organization are so important to really bringing seamless integrated data into the education ecosystem. And then the technology track is really focused on the technical pieces that are really not, that are as important and as valuable as the program contribution, but it's not something that is visible to everyone, right? So we just focus on, okay, how do you install the infrastructure? How do you mine it? How do you extend it? How do you accommodate it to you? One of the things that I want to mention here is that the Ed5 technology suite is really meant for education organizations to bring into their organization with already your infrastructure that you have, right? It doesn't mean that it's a product or a whole new wholesale system. It means that there are components of technology that we've made available for you that you can bring into your current organization to start leveraging the standard for integrating data.
Thank you, yes. And I think that piece leads to another question too, which, I think often people perhaps have this perception that they need to have one standard for everything, right? But in reality, often people have multiple standards working in different ways. And so I'm wondering, you mentioned this actually it was Susan in the chat talking about holistic approach, and you're talking about this flexibility. How does this Ed5 Academy basically cater to folks who have maybe or have IMS or A4L or another type of standard incorporated in their tech?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jonathan. I think it's important to mention that data standards are actually a very common understanding across other ecosystems. It's not that it's new to the education ecosystem, but it's something that it's not general or global in terms of all of the systems that provide and track and capture data in education. So there are initiatives of trying to standardize those data points. And as you mentioned, those initiatives have been supported by other organizations. The data standard that the EdFi Alliance supports, endorses, and helps provide in data interoperability is more like a backbone or an augmentation of something else that you might already have. So let's say that currently your organization uses one roster on integrating all your single sign-ons, or the rostering for your assessment software from your student information system. The EdFi data standard could also provide that. However, it's also augmentative. And so the EdFi Academy will help you kind of understand how you can bring in the EdFi data standard with your existing functionality or functions that you have with other data standards as like the next step of a more holistic way of bringing the majority of the data points in the education ecosystem. The EdFi Alliance and the EdFi community, and really I will have to attribute a lot of the success on the adoption of the EdFi data standard, is that it's community driven, meaning that we need to hear from you. What are your needs? And so there is a limited set of domains that are currently supported. However, as we're hearing needs of the community, if there's other things that need to be integrated, then it's more a complementary in terms of the standards than an either or. And it's also an evolution of the needs. So in reference to the Academy, we try to kind of just bring awareness on really how EdFi can support data interoperability, but it's not the single one solution that solves everything, but it is the backbone that can start you in your data interoperability journey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sylvia. We are running up on time here, so I just want to cover a few things. First, I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Sylvia so much for giving us this discussion about EdFi Academy. Before you go, please sign the pledge. The link will be in the chat. We will be following up, of course, with a lot of these links and some information for you all, as well as a link to the recording of this webinar in case you would like to watch it again or share it with other folks. So please sign the pledge. Definitely apply for the interoperability certification if you're an ed tech vendor. It's a really valuable resource. Something I want to talk about is in the new year, Project Unicorn is hosting open office hours. My colleagues Elise and Susan at Project Unicorn will be holding these time blocks open for you to come in, ask questions. They'll spend about 15 minutes with each person who joins. So these are the times. They start tomorrow for Elise at 2 Eastern time and noon on Friday Eastern time for Susan. So any questions about EdFi Academy, data interoperability, and everything we've been talking about, be sure to join those. They're really valuable. And Elise and Susan are wonderful. You'll love talking with them. Of course, keep the conversation going. This is our Twitter handle for Project Unicorn. That is Sylvia's Twitter handle. If you have additional questions, please tag us on Twitter. We would love to keep talking with you. We will be posting a few additional questions online, so be sure to join us there. And thank you very much. We are so excited you joined us today. Be on the lookout for future webinars from Unicorn and EdFi Academy. We have an exciting webinar coming up on the 18th with Digital Promise about data equity. All of this will be in a follow-up email with you afterwards. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great year.
We hope you'll join us. Thank you so much.